The silent observer. In the vast expanse of the Milky Way, beneath the glittering tapestry of stars, the Galactic Alliance's most advanced observation post hung silently in the void. The station's crystalline surfaces reflected starlight like a jewel suspended in space, its delicate spires housing the most sophisticated monitoring equipment known to the 17 species that made up the Alliance. Inside the central observation chamber, Senior Observer Valna stared at her displays with mounting horror. Her iridescent scales shifted from their usual peaceful blue to a disturbed amber as she watched another star system vanish from the long-range sensors. It wasn't an equipment malfunction. She had already checked 3 times. The Proxima Centauri system had simply ceased to exist, becoming an expanding sphere of absolute darkness that consumed light itself. "High Counselor," she transmitted, her voice trembling despite years of diplomatic training. "We've lost another system. The phenomenon is accelerating." High Counselor Xerix materialized in the chamber, his holographic form composed of swirling points of light. Like all members of the luminary species, he had long ago shed physical form for an energy-based existence. "Show me the progression, Observer Valna." The chamber filled with a 3-dimensional map of the galaxy. Red markers indicated systems that had already fallen to what they now called the void. The pattern was clear and terrifying. What had started as isolated incidents at the galaxy's edge was becoming a methodical advance toward the core worlds. 23 systems in the past lunar cycle, Valna reported. The void is learning, adapting. Our predictive models suggest it will reach Alliance space within 12 cycles. And our defenses. Valna's scales darkened further. "Ineffective, sir. The void simply absorbs energy weapons. Physical projectiles disappear without impact. It's as if," she hesitated, "as if it operates on principles we don't understand." Xerix's form flickered, a sign of deep disturbance among his kind. "The Alliance has known peace for 10,000 years. We've turned our science to exploration, our industry to creation. We are not prepared for this. There might be another option." Valna's scales shifted to a determined green as she adjusted the galactic display. "During our preliminary surveys of pre-contact civilizations, we discovered something unusual." The map zoomed in on a spiral arm, focusing on a seemingly unremarkable yellow star. "Sol system," Valna explained. "Home to a species called humans. They're primitive by our standards. They've barely reached their own moon. But they're fascinating." Images began to fill the chamber. Humans scaling frozen mountains, diving into ocean trenches, fighting wars, building cities in deserts, and surviving in the harshest environments imaginable. Their homeworld, Earth, would be classified as a death world by Alliance standards. Valna continued. "Extreme temperature variations, powerful storms, active tectonics, dangerous wildlife, and gravity nearly twice what most Alliance species consider comfortable. Yet they don't just survive, they thrive." Xerix studied the images with growing interest. "They appear rather aggressive." "They are capable of tremendous violence," Valna agreed. "But look closer." The images shifted to show humans rescuing others from disasters, rebuilding after destruction, celebrating together, creating art, and making scientific breakthroughs. They understand both creation and destruction. They've developed advanced mathematics and physics while still maintaining martial traditions. They make war, yes, but they also forge peace. New data scrolled across the displays. Human biological information, social structures, technological progress. Their bodies are incredibly resilient, Valna explained. They can survive injuries that would kill most Alliance species. They can adapt to almost any environment. Their minds are even more remarkable. They actively seek out challenges, solve problems in unique ways, and seem to become stronger when faced with adversity. You're suggesting we contact them? Xerix's form pulsed with concern. They're centuries away from meeting our usual criteria for first contact. The cultural shock alone could devastate their society. With respect, High Counselor, we don't have centuries. The void will reach Earth eventually. Wouldn't it be better to contact them on our terms? To offer them a chance to join us in defending not just their world, but all worlds?" Xerix was silent for a long moment, his form shifting through various spectral patterns as he processed the implications. "Show me more," he finally requested. Valna brought up footage of human emergency responders running into burning buildings, soldiers shielding civilians with their own bodies, scientists working tirelessly in laboratories, and engineers creating innovative solutions to impossible problems. "They call it the human spirit," she explained. "It's not just their physical capabilities that make them unique. They have something we've lost over millennia of peace and prosperity. An unshakable determination to overcome any challenge, no matter the odds." The chamber darkened as another alert came through. The void had claimed another system. Xerix watched the darkness spread on the galactic map, his form dimming in response. "The Alliance Council will need to be convinced," he said finally. "Contact with a pre-qualified species goes against every protocol we have." "High Counselor, I believe we're long past protocols." Valna's scales had settled into a deep purple of absolute conviction. "The void defies everything we understand about physics and nature. Perhaps what we need now is a species that defies everything we understand about civilization." Xerix's form brightened momentarily, the equivalent of a nod among his kind. "Prepare a full report for the Council. Include everything you've observed about these humans. If we're going to break 10,000 years of tradition, we need to be certain." As Xerix's hologram faded, Valna turned back to her displays. A new image appeared. A human child getting up after falling, wiping away tears, and trying again. "You don't know it yet," she whispered to the image, "but the galaxy needs you. All of you." In the darkness of space, the observation post continued its silent watch. Below, on the blue-green world that was Earth, humans went about their lives, unaware that they were being observed, unaware that their greatest test as a species was approaching. The galaxy was about to discover what humanity was truly capable of, and nothing would ever be the same. Dr. Sarah Chen stood at the summit of Mauna Kea, her eyes fixed on the array of telescopes that crowned the mountain. As the lead astronomer at the observatory, she had spent countless nights studying the stars, but tonight was different. The anomalies she'd been tracking for the past month defied explanation. Entire star systems going dark, their light disappearing as if they'd never existed. Her tablet chimed with another alert. She pulled up the live feed from the newest wide-field survey telescope and felt her breath catch. A star system just 50 light-years away had vanished while she watched. Not a supernova, not a collapse, just sudden, complete darkness. Dr. Chen, her assistant, James, burst out of the main observatory building. "You need to see this. Every telescope, every radio dish, they're all picking up the same signal." Before Sarah could respond, the night sky lit up with a sight that would forever change human history. 3 ships descended through the atmosphere, their hulls gleaming like liquid mercury in the moonlight. They moved with an impossible grace, defying known physics as they came to rest in the empty visitor parking lot of the observatory. "My God," Sarah whispered, her scientific mind racing to process what she was seeing. Security personnel emerged from various buildings, weapons drawn but held uncertainly as they surrounded the landing site. The largest ship's surface rippled, and an opening appeared. Light spilled out, and with it came 2 figures that seemed to float more than walk. One was tall and willowy with iridescent scales that shifted colors in the moonlight. The other appeared to be made of pure energy, its form barely contained in a humanoid shape. "People of Earth," the energy being spoke, its voice somehow bypassing their ears and appearing directly in their minds. "I am High Counselor Xerix of the Galactic Alliance. We come seeking your help." Within hours, the mountain was swarming with military and government officials. Sarah found herself in the observatory's main conference room, now transformed into an impromptu first contact center. Around the table sat the president's senior advisors, top military brass, and leading scientists from around the world. hastily flown in by supersonic transport. "Let me understand this correctly," General Diana Rodriguez said, her steady voice cutting through the tension in the room. "You're saying that this void is consuming entire star systems, and your advanced civilization can't stop it?" "Correct," Valna, the scaled alien, replied. Her translator device rendered her words into perfect English. "Our civilization has known peace for so long that we've lost something essential: the ability to face and overcome true adversity. We've observed your species, seen your remarkable capacity for survival and adaptation. You possess qualities we desperately need." The room fell silent. They had known this moment would come, but the reality still hit hard. "How long?" Sarah asked. 3 days, Valna answered, her scales shifting through patterns of concern. "But there's something else. The quantum readings are off the scale. It's gathering power unlike anything we've seen before, because it recognizes us as its greatest threat." James Wong spoke up from his workstation. "Everything we've theorized suggests the void is a manifestation of pure order trying to impose itself on our chaotic universe. Earth, humanity, we represent everything it's trying to eliminate." "Then we use that," Sarah said, her voice gaining strength as ideas crystallized. "We don't just fight the void. We overwhelm it with chaos, with life, with everything that makes reality messy and beautiful and unpredictable." The next 72 hours saw the greatest mobilization in human history. Every ship, every weapon, every piece of technology was modified according to the new understanding. Alliance precision merged with human improvisation in ways that would have seemed impossible months ago. The combined fleet that assembled in Earth orbit was unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. Alliance vessels now bore irregular patterns that shifted and changed, while human ships had been upgraded with crystalline technology that pulsed with controlled chaos. At the center of the formation, the Resilient had been transformed into something entirely new, a hybrid of human and Alliance engineering that defied conventional physics. On the bridge, Rodriguez stood with her unified command staff. Humans worked alongside beings of pure energy, crystalline entities, and species that existed as living sound waves. Each brought their own perspective, their own approach to the coming battle. "The void thinks it knows us now," Rodriguez addressed the fleet. "It thinks it can predict us, counter us, consume us. It's wrong. We are life itself. Messy, chaotic, beautiful life. We don't follow patterns. We break them. We don't surrender to order. We create our own. Today, we show the universe that the future belongs to those who dare to be unpredictable." The void arrived like a wave of midnight, larger than ever before. But this time, the defenders were ready. As the darkness approached, the fleet didn't form up in traditional patterns. Instead, each ship moved according to its pilot's instincts, creating a constantly shifting, living defense screen. The battle began not with a single command, but with thousands of individual initiatives. Human pilots executed maneuvers that violated flight physics, their ships protected by Alliance shields that flickered with controlled randomness. Alliance vessels wielded weapons that had been modified with human chaos theory, creating effects that rippled through space-time itself. The void struck back with overwhelming force, but for the first time, it seemed confused. Every time it adapted to one tactic, the defenders had already shifted to another. There was no pattern to learn, no order to impose. In the Resilient Science Bay, Sarah worked frantically with her mixed team of human and Alliance scientists. "The quantum readings are fluctuating," she reported. "The void. It's trying to process too many variables at once." "Push harder," Rodriguez commanded. "Every ship, every weapon. Maximum unpredictability." The fleet responded with a symphony of chaos. Alliance energy weapons pulsed with human emotional patterns. Human missiles carried payloads of crystalline technology that shattered in ways that defied prediction. Even the communications between ships became part of the attack, creating a web of quantum entanglement that the void couldn't unravel. At the heart of the darkness, something changed. The void's perfect blackness began to show cracks. not of light, but of possibility. Every unpredictable action, every chaotic choice, every random decision created another fracture in its structured reality. It's working. Sarah's voice carried across all channels. The void's own nature is turning against it. It has to maintain perfect order. But we're introducing too many variables. All ships, Rodriguez's command cut through the chaos, converge on the primary rupture. Don't think, don't plan, just act. The combined fleet surged forward, each ship moving according to its crew's instincts rather than any predetermined plan. The void tried to adapt, tried to impose order, but the sheer variety of responses overwhelmed its ability to process. The ruptures spread, connecting, growing, until the void's perfect darkness began to break apart. In its place, reality reasserted itself, messy, chaotic, alive. The darkness that had consumed so many worlds finally faced something it couldn't order, couldn't predict, couldn't control. A simple combat role that had taken her years to master. Stop calculating. Start feeling. Your body knows things your mind hasn't caught up to yet. Across the training ground, Dr. Sarah Chen sat with Valna under a canopy of leaves, surrounded by holographic displays showing the latest void analysis. The contrast between them was striking. Sarah in practical field gear, Valna in the flowing ceremonial robes of an Alliance observer. The problem, Sarah explained, pointing to a particular data set, is that we're trying to understand the void using standard physics. But look here. The way it absorbs both matter and energy suggests it's operating on principles we haven't even discovered yet. Valna's scales shifted to a thoughtful green. Our scientists have studied it for months without progress. How would you approach it differently? By breaking all the rules. Sarah's fingers flew across her tablet, pulling up historical examples. Look at quantum mechanics, relativity, even the discovery of radioactivity. The biggest breakthroughs in human science came when we stopped assuming we knew how things should work and started paying attention to how they actually did work. Their discussion was interrupted by a commotion from the tech integration area. High Counselor Xerix's energy form pulsed with agitation as he argued with a team of human engineers led by Dr. James Wong, Sarah's former assistant. It's completely unorthodox, Xerix was saying. The power requirements alone. Exactly, James exclaimed, his excitement obvious. Your ship's energy shields are too perfect, too efficient. The void absorbs them because they're predictable. But look what happens when we introduce controlled chaos into the system. The test chamber hummed to life. Inside, a scaled-down version of an Alliance shield generator spun up, but now modified with human innovations. The energy field it produced wasn't the usual smooth, symmetric bubble, but a churning, ever-changing pattern of force. It's wasteful, Xerix observed. Inefficient. Just like nature, James grinned. Just like life itself. Perfect efficiency is death. Life thrives on imperfection, on adaptation, on change. In the medical bay, another kind of breakthrough was taking place. Dr. Amara Patel, Earth's leading expert in trauma surgery, watched in fascination as an Alliance healing chamber reconstructed damaged tissue. Your technology is incredible, she told her Alliance counterpart, a being of pure sound waves named resonance. But it's designed for bodies that evolved in gentle environments. Human healing is messy, aggressive. Our bodies literally fight to survive. We've noticed resonance harmonized. Your immune system alone is more complex than anything we've encountered. It's like your bodies are constantly at war. Exactly. Amara's eyes lit up. What if we could combine your precision healing with our body's natural fighting response? Instead of trying to make healing perfect, we make it adaptive. The days blurred into weeks as humans and aliens learned from each other. The Alliance provided advanced technology and theoretical knowledge, while humans shared practical experience and unconventional thinking. But it wasn't always smooth sailing. One evening, Maya found Kextel sitting alone by the edge of the training ground, his crystalline form reflecting the sunset in fractured patterns. "Talk to me," she said, sitting beside him. "I fear we're losing ourselves," Kextol admitted. "For millennia, my people have prided ourselves on precision, on perfection. Now you teach us to embrace chaos, to find strength in disorder. What if we become something we were never meant to be?" Maya was quiet for a moment, watching the jungle's nightlife emerge. "Look there." She pointed to a flower closing its petals for the night. "Nature isn't about being something you were meant to be. It's about becoming what you need to be to survive." The flower doesn't question whether it should close at night. It does what works. "But we're not flowers," Kextol countered. "We're conscious beings with culture, with values. And those don't have to change," Maya assured him. "Humans haven't lost our capacity for peace just because we know how to fight. We haven't lost our love of beauty because we can face ugliness. Sometimes protecting what you value means learning new ways to defend it." In the command center, Sarah and Valna presented their findings to a joint Human Alliance Council. The holographic displays showed the Void's advance, now overlaid with new analysis based on human theoretical models. "It's not just consuming systems," Sarah explained. "It's learning from them. Every civilization it encounters adds to its understanding. But that's also its weakness. It expects order, patterns, predictability. Everything we're not." "The Alliance has spent millennia perfecting our civilization," one council member objected. "You're suggesting we deliberately introduce imperfection." "I'm suggesting we introduce humanity," Sarah corrected. "Not just our weapons or our technology, but our way of thinking, our way of adapting. The Void has never encountered anything like us, because nothing like us exists in your ordered galaxy." As night fell over the training facility, the jungle came alive with sounds both terrestrial and alien. Human voices mixed with Alliance translations, creating a strange new harmony. In labs and training grounds, in healing chambers and engineering bays, two fundamentally different approaches to existence were learning to work together. The Void was still coming, consuming stars and systems in its path. But for the first time since its appearance, there was hope. Humanity was teaching the galaxy how to fight, how to adapt, how to survive. And in return, the galaxy was teaching humanity that we were never meant to face the darkness alone. The joint Human Alliance fleet hung in the darkness of space near the Proxima Centauri system. 50 ships strong, they represented the first line of defense against the approaching Void. The Alliance vessels gleamed like polished mirrors, their hulls incorporating the latest human-inspired modifications. Among them, Earth's contribution. 15 retrofitted warships looked almost primitive in comparison, their hulls scared and angular. On the bridge of the flagship Resilient, Admiral Diana Rodriguez stood with High Counselor Xerix, watching the tactical display. The Void's advance had been tracked with growing precision thanks to Dr. Chen's breakthrough in quantum detection. It would arrive within the hour. "Remember," Rodriguez addressed the fleet, her voice carrying across all ships through the Alliance's telepathic communications network, "we fight as one. Trust your training, trust each other, and most importantly, trust yourself." In the fleet's engineering hub, James Wong made final adjustments to the modified shield generators. The new designs incorporated controlled randomness, creating defense fields that shifted and pulsed unpredictably. Beside him, Kextel's crystalline form hummed with nervous energy as he monitored power distributions. "The chaos patterns are holding," Kextel reported, his voice steady despite his anxiety. "Though I still can't believe we're deliberately introducing instability into our systems." "That's exactly why it might work," James replied, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. "The Void has never encountered anything that wasn't perfectly ordered. Time to show it some human unpredictability." The first sign of the Void's arrival was subtle, a darkening of the stars behind Proxima Centauri. Then the darkness began to spread, like ink in water, consuming light itself. The tactical display filled with warnings as sensors tried to analyze something that defied analysis. "All ships, battle formations," Rodriguez commanded. The fleet moved with practiced precision, taking up positions they had drilled countless times. The Alliance vessels formed a perfect geometric pattern, except for the human ships, which maintained seemingly random positions within the formation. Energy spike. Sarah Chen's voice cut across the command channel from her position in the science bay. It's larger than any previous manifestation. The void is adapting. The darkness surged forward like a living thing, tendrils of absolute nothing reaching for the fleet. The first line of Alliance ships engaged their modified shields, their energy barriers flickering with human-inspired chaos patterns. For a moment, it seemed to work. The void's tendrils recoiled from the unpredictable defense. But then the darkness changed. Where before it had moved like a fluid, now it fractalized, splitting into countless smaller streams that probed for weaknesses. An Alliance vessel's shields faltered for just a moment, and in that instant, the ship vanished, consumed as if it had never existed. Pattern Delta. Rodriguez barked. The human ships broke formation, each moving in seemingly random vectors, their modified weapons firing bursts of energy that pulsed with deliberate irregularity. The void reacted, trying to predict their movements, but the humans weren't following any pattern it could learn. "It's working," Sarah reported excitedly. "The void's advance is slowing. It's having to process each ship individually instead of predicting the entire fleet's movement." But the victory was short-lived. The void began to split its attention, multiple streams of darkness attacking multiple targets simultaneously. 3 more Alliance ships vanished in quick succession, their perfect formations becoming a liability as the void learned to predict their responses. Break formation. Xerix commanded the Alliance fleet, his energy form pulsing with desperate intensity. Follow the human ship's example. Random movements, unpredictable patterns. The battle devolved into chaos, exactly as planned. Human and Alliance ships wove complex paths through space, their weapons creating a discordant symphony of energy and matter. The void seemed confused, its attacks becoming less coordinated as it faced an enemy that refused to behave according to any logical pattern. But the cost was mounting. The Resilient shuddered as a tendril of void stuff brushed against its hull, removing a section of armor as cleanly as a surgeon's scalpel. Other ships, both human and Alliance, reported similar damage. They were hurting the void, yes, but it was hurting them back. New energy signature. Sarah's voice carried notes of both fear and excitement. The void is changing. It's trying to adapt to our chaos, but the adaptation itself is creating instability in its structure. Rodriguez watched the tactical display, her years of military experience letting her see the pattern emerging. It's overextending, she realized, like an army that's advanced too far from its supply lines. All ships, push forward. Don't let it consolidate. The fleet surged as one, human and Alliance vessels moving in a beautiful dance of controlled chaos. Their weapons fire became more erratic, their movements more unpredictable. The void's attempts to adapt created more and more instability within its own structure. Then, just as victory seemed within reach, disaster struck. A massive pulse of darkness erupted from the void's core, expanding outward faster than any shields could react. When it cleared, a third of the fleet was simply gone. "Fall back," Rodriguez ordered, her voice tight with controlled grief. "We've learned what we needed to learn. Don't let their sacrifices be for nothing." The surviving ships retreated, carrying with them precious data about their enemy. The void, perhaps equally affected by the encounter, did not pursue. Instead, it seemed to pause, as if processing what had just occurred. Hours later, in the Resilience Command Center, the survivors gathered to assess what they had learned. The holographic display showed the battle from multiple angles, highlighting key moments of both success and failure. "We heard it," Sarah said, her voice hoarse from hours of analysis. "For the first time since it appeared, we made the void react instead of just consume. But the cost was necessary," Xerix finished, his energy form dimmed with mourning but firm with resolve. "We now know that chaos, True unpredictability can affect it. But we need more than just random action. We need controlled chaos, directed unpredictability. Rodriguez stood at the viewport, watching distant stars shine. We need to combine human adaptability with Alliance precision, she said. Not one or the other, both together. We need to become something entirely new. As the Resilient limped home, carrying the weight of both victory and loss, the survivors began to plan. They had glimpsed a path to victory, paid for in lives both human and alien. Now they had to make those sacrifices count. The Void had won this battle, but in doing so, it had revealed its weaknesses. Humanity had shown the galaxy how to fight back. The next encounter would be different. The next time, they would be ready. In the 6 months since the battle at Proxima Centauri, Earth had transformed. Alliance technology merged with human innovation across the planet, while humanity's martial knowledge spread throughout the galaxy. The Void had claimed 12 more systems, but each advance was met with fiercer resistance as the combined forces learned and adapted. Deep within the Brazilian facility, Dr. Sarah Chen stood before a holographic representation of the Void structure, her eyes reflecting the swirling patterns of darkness. The room around her was a testament to the new cooperation between species. Crystalline computing arrays interfaced with human neural networks, while Alliance energy matrices powered Earth-designed chaos engines. "Show me the pattern analysis again," she requested. Kekstall, his crystalline form now comfortable in Earth's gravity, adjusted the display. The data from every encounter with the Void played out in accelerated time, each engagement revealing more about their enemy's nature. "There," Sarah pointed, her finger tracing a recurring pattern. "The Void doesn't just consume, it imposes order. It's not just destroying systems, it's trying to reorganize reality itself." Admiral Rodriguez entered the room, followed by High Counselor Xerix and Valna. The Admiral's uniform now bore both Earth and Alliance insignia, while Xerix's energy form had adapted to maintain coherence in Earth's stronger gravity field. "We're running out of time," Rodriguez announced without preamble. "The Void has changed course. It's heading directly for Earth." The room erupted in overlapping conversations until Sarah's voice cut through the chaos. "The anomalies I've been tracking. That was your Void, wasn't it?" Xerix's form pulsed with confirmation. "It moves faster than we anticipated. We estimate it will reach Earth within 5 years, whether we work together or not." "And what exactly do you want from us?" Rodriguez asked, her eyes narrowing. "Our weapons, our soldiers. We want your spirit," Valna answered, her scales shifting to a deep blue of sincerity. "Your innovation, your determination, your unique way of approaching problems. We have technology far beyond yours, but technology alone isn't enough. We need warriors who understand both creation and destruction. Scientists who think beyond established principles. Leaders who can make impossible decisions." Screens around the room lit up with images from Earth's history, humans surviving natural disasters, rebuilding cities from ruins, making breakthrough discoveries, and helping each other through crisis. "You see violence in your history and feel shame," Xerix observed. "But we see something else. We see a species that faces its challenges head-on, that learns from its mistakes, that never stops trying to be better. The Void consumes everything in its path because nothing has ever truly resisted it. We believe you can teach us how to resist." General Rodriguez stood, her posture straight and commanding. "You realize what you're asking. To reveal the existence of alien life, to tell humanity that a cosmic horror is coming to devour us, to completely upend every aspect of our civilization." "Yes," Valna said simply, "because the alternative is extinction." Sarah studied the data scrolling across her tablet. The Alliance's scientific analysis of the Void, their technological capabilities, their cultural history. "We'd need access to your technology," she said. "Full access. If we're going to help you fight this thing, we need to understand what we're dealing with." "Agreed," Xerix replied. "In return, we need access to your military academies, your disaster response protocols, your scientific methodology. We need to understand how you think, how you fight, how you survive." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity wasn't just being invited to join a galactic community. They were being asked to help save it. There will be panic, Rodriguez warned. Fear, confusion. Not everyone will react well to this news. We know. Valna's scales rippled with understanding. We've studied your entertainment media, your science fiction. Some of your people have been imagining and preparing for this moment for generations. Let us help you manage the transition. We have experience with guiding species into the galactic community. But never like this, Xerix added. Never in crisis. Never with such urgency. We're breaking every protocol we have because we believe you are worth the risk. Seraph stood and walked to the window. The 3 alien ships still gleamed in the parking lot, their impossible presence a testament to how much the world had already changed. Above them, the stars continued to shine. For now. "We need to tell everyone," she said firmly. "No secrets, no covers, no slow revelation. If we're going to face this together, we need to start with truth." Around the table, heads began to nod. The decision wasn't just about first contact anymore. It was about survival. Humanity was about to step onto the galactic stage, not as junior members of an ancient alliance, but as potential saviors of all sapient life. As the sun began to rise over Mauna Kea, plans were already being made. Earth's first contact with alien life wouldn't be marked by conquest or colonization, but by a desperate plea for help. Humanity's response would prove whether the Alliance's faith in them was justified, and determine the fate of countless civilizations across the galaxy. Colonel Maya Santos wiped sweat from her brow as she watched another Alliance recruit collapse under Earth's gravity. The training facility in the Brazilian rainforest had been specifically chosen for its challenging environment: humid heat, dense vegetation, and most importantly, full Earth gravity. The Alliance's artificial gravity technology could have made things easier, but that wasn't the point. "Up," she commanded, her voice firm but not unkind. "Remember what we discussed about leveraging your body's mass differently." The recruit, a crystalline being named Kextel, struggled to his feet. His normally pristine surface was dulled with moisture and organic debris, but his determination showed in the way his facets caught the sunlight. "I don't understand," Kextel said, his translated voice carrying notes of frustration. "Our structural analysis shows this movement should be possible, but our bodies resist." "That's because you're thinking like an engineer, not a survivor." Maya demonstrated the movement again. With a final surge of unified chaos, the fleet struck at the void's core. The darkness shattered like glass, each fragment dissolving into the natural disorder of space. Where perfect emptiness had been, stars now shone again, not in patterns, but in the beautiful randomness of the true universe. In the aftermath, as the fleet regrouped and damage reports came in, Rodriguez stood with Xerix and Valna on the Resilience observation deck. Earth shone below them, blue and green and gloriously imperfect. "We did more than save the galaxy," Valna said, her scales shifting through patterns of joy and wonder. "We proved that true strength comes not from imposing order, but from embracing chaos. Not from perfect patterns, but from endless possibility." "That's what humanity has always known," Rodriguez replied. "Life isn't about creating perfect order. It's about finding beauty in the chaos, strength in adaptation, and hope in unpredictability." Xerix's energy form pulsed with new understanding. "Perhaps that is why we found you when we did. Not just to save us from the void, but to remind us of what we have forgotten. That the universe is not meant to be perfect. It is meant to be alive." As news of the victory spread across Earth and throughout the Alliance, celebrations erupted on countless worlds. But this wasn't just a celebration of survival. It was a celebration of transformation. Humanity had joined the galactic community not as junior members, but as teachers, showing the way to a new understanding of life itself. The stars shone down on a changed galaxy, one where order and chaos danced together, where different species learned from each other's strengths, and where the future was gloriously, wonderfully unpredictable. Humanity had risen to face the darkness, and in doing so, had helped the entire galaxy rise with them.